up, everybody, and welcome back to Marvel Monday. We're the Nerdy Misfits. And today we'll be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, one of Matt's all-time least favorite Marvel films.
Yeah, so bad.
IMDb, give us...
IMDb 7.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 85% on the critics and 87% on the audience. Budget was $200 million. Box office of $869.1 million. Studio obviously Marvel. James Gunn introduction to the MCU. And released on May 5th, 2017. Now, since this is not a new cast. What are we talking about?
This is basically the same cast with a couple new guys.
Just the only two that you need to know about that got added is Mantis. That's basically it. And who is played by Poe Clementinoff, and then Ego, who is Kurt Russell.
All right, so perhaps before we get into the likes and dislikes, Matt, let's cover the general plot that is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
What is daddy issues?
Basically, the plot is we get a little bit about how Star-Lord Peter Quill doesn't know who his dad is.
Yeah.
But it's clear that his dad was not human.
Yes. Because he's
able to hold the Divinity Stone.
Exactly.
And basically some shenanigans happen, but it's not really important how we get there. We end up meeting his dad.
Yep.
Who happens to also be a planet. He actually happens to be Ego, the living planet. Which also makes no sense, but we'll get into that. And basically, as you'd expect, all is not right, even though it seems all nice. It's not nice. And because it's not all nice, we have to fight him.
Yep.
And then that fight leads to the planet dying, and then they get away. And the family is the people that love you most.
Yes, and Yondu dies at some point.
It's actually tough. Like, all of that stuff that happens before is really just pretty intense filler as we get to there. It's just like they fight. I can't even remember what they're called. They steal the batteries.
Oh yeah, the yellow gold people.
Yeah.
Don't remember what they're called either.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, let's get into your likes.
My likes. I do have a couple likes actually.
Okay. What did you like?
Yondu's arc.
Yondu's arc is good.
I thought he had really good chemistry with Rocket.
Yeah.
Thought that was good. And like Yondu's funeral at the end was nice.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Soundtrack was good as expected.
You had to hold up though. You almost
had to hold up.
You're forced to. Yeah.
Not as good as the first one, but that's okay. Some of Drax's one-liners.
Yeah, Drax is funny.
He had some good comedic moments.
As long as you're okay with that. My like is if you enjoyed the humor from Guardians 1, then you'll enjoy the humor in this one. And that's the thing. If you find it to get tiring, then you might grow even more tired during this film, and then we'll discuss about it in Guardians 3.
And I think the Gamora and Nebula coming to an understanding at the end of this film was good. I think there was some good character development for them.
There was definitely some very solid character development for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I have that, like some good development of characters.
Yep.
What is your favorite moments?
Favorite moments? Groot with the bomb. Thought that was fun with him not knowing what button to push.
He figured it
out. And then Groot bringing back random items while Yondu and Rocket were in jail.
Yeah, I have that. Don't think I had a particularly favorite moment. And I said maybe Groot getting the random items for Yondu.
Should we go with the negatives?
I'll start us off because I find that mine won't be as aggressive.
Okay.
Overuse of Baby Groot.
Yep.
I remember when we saw this in theaters together, the opening scene is like a dance party with Baby Groot as there's a fight going on behind. And we both were like, Because at that point, Baby Groot had already been like...
so marketed.
Everywhere. Prior to even trailers of Guardians 2, right? Like, I feel like we were already tired of Baby Groot before we even got the first trailer.
Yeah.
So, to see him just overused just because you know that he was like kind of cute is just like, didn't love it.
Yep.
Some of the CGI, I wish I was more specific in the spots, but some of it kind of looked a bit wonky. I think mostly on the planet maybe was when it was like, it just, I don't know, some of it just didn't look as clean as it could or looks like it actually belonged.
Yeah.
Which sometimes you could argue is on purpose, like to make you feel that way, like, oh, this doesn't feel right. But I feel like that's like creating an excuse for it not looking as good as it should.
That's fair.
Another thing that didn't look good is Ego's slime thing, the thing that was taking over the planets.
Yep.
That, speaking of last week episode Doctor Strange with old school cloud kind of villains, that gave me Galactus vibes.
That's
like
so
what
fair.
was that?
Yeah.
Like what even was that? I didn't like that.
Yep.
Having Ego the planet felt very random.
Mhm.
One, because even if you're not a comic book fan, I'm sure there are people that ended up looking up who is Peter Quill and seeing who his father actually was.
Yep.
And then just having it randomly change and be Ego the planet was just so weird. Like, what a weird choice. And then the even stranger thing is that when Ego dies, Peter loses half himself. Like, loses his celestial powers. And you're like, and I was just like, so does that mean he's only 23 chromosomes now? Like, I don't understand. Like, isn't that just who he is?
Yeah.
So that was a little odd. I felt like it was just written in there to make sure that Peter wasn't just super OP by what was set up. But yeah, those were some of my dislikes. Matt?
Okay. First off, movie felt long.
I don't
For
know
me,
if it felt
it just
long.
Scenes dragged on.
It didn't feel like everything was as important, but the chase scene leads
Yeah.
to that. The drama with Rocket, like
It all adds up at the
all
end.
that fighting, you're kind of like, oh, but then they realize like, oh, I do love you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're family. You don't need your dad because we're family.
We're the family you need. Yeah. Probably my least favorite scene was the jumping through space with Rocket, Kraglin, Groot, and Yondu with their
I
like
had a chuckle
straight.
the first time.
Yeah.
The first time you see it, you have a chuckle. When we bounce back to it again and then
It's
again,
still going, and you're like,
okay, yeah, it loses the joke fast.
yeah, like again, like the first moment, you're like, oh, that's funny, haha. Like their faces are getting stretched, and then it just keeps going and going and going, and you're like, this is why.
But some people might like that.
It's just not my cup of tea. The final fight as a whole was messy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, too confusing. Ego as a whole,
didn't like him.
didn't like him as a villain. Didn't make sense.
Seems like a waste of Kurt Russell in a
waste of
MCU
Kurt
film.
Russell. The fact that they traded the rights for Ego, for Fox traded the rights for Ego, so Fox could use Negasonic Tina Warhead in the Deadpool films. That was the agreement. They sold those two characters off supposedly.
Okay.
So that was just a waste. The fact that like this is where I'm like you're jumping too far away from the comics, because in the comics, Peter Quill's dad is like the king of Spartax, which is literally a space pirates.
Yeah.
Like, which connects more to like what I thought they were gonna do with Yondu being like part of the Ravengers and all that jazz. You know, that had potential, but then just making him half celestial. Which, if you know anything about the Celestials, that does not make any logical sense in the slightest. And then
also, extra doesn't make sense that he loses.
No, exactly. It just doesn't add up. He would have died. The opening scene, like we discussed, again, the Baby Groot thing is good for the first like 45 seconds.
No, I think it's more like, is that what, like, using Baby Groot there, you're like, okay, that was it. That was Baby Groot being used.
But it was like, for me, I was like, it was cute the first like 45 seconds, 2 minutes. But then when it ends up being like a whole music video, like it's like almost 4 minutes it feels. And I'm just like, it takes me into the movie because I'm like, okay, I know this is supposed to be like a fun cold open, but like you're dragging it on.
Yeah, let's get going.
You know? And then my biggest nitpick, which if anyone's friends with me and knows my nitpick about this film, is what is the point of this film during the timeline of the overall MCU?
Yeah, because considering at this moment is when everything is building up for the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Which is worth noting, as we're rewatching these films in release order, we're trying our best to not look ahead too far.
Yeah.
Right? So for us, if we're watching this as if it just came out, it provided basically nothing towards the
end
working
goal.
Towards
the end game.
Infinities. Yeah, towards that game.
Yeah.
And I guess you could argue like Nebula kind of joining.
Nebula and Mantis are the only things you need to know about this film.
And Nebula obviously still has that hate towards
Thanos.
That's about it, right? Like,
yeah. But it's just like when you come off of like the last 2 films even, like beginning of phase 3. Doctor Strange has the Eye of Agamotto, which is the Time Stone.
That's it. That's all you even need. Even Thor 2.
Even Thor
We
2
did
is
not
more
like Thor
important
2.
than this film.
In terms of
The story overall,
moving towards
yes.
the MC, like moving the MCU
forward. Yeah. But even you look at like Captain America Civil War, the breakup of the Avengers, like that is pivotal for the overall story.
But what would you say about the people that are watching this film in a vacuum? As maybe Guardians 1, they're not comic book fans, but they thought it was really funny and enjoyable. It was a team that you didn't really need to have any attachment to any comic
but even
book.
Just like,
and then coming to this.
even if you just do that where you're like, oh, I watched the first Guardians, I'll watch the second Guardians. Still, I just don't think it's that strong of a film. Like, I think for me personally, like, I'm not a big fan of the comedy overall. Like, the repetitive jokes they just not that they get on my nerves, but I just don't find them funny when it's hitting the second time or the third time.
You just don't like happiness.
Just don't like happiness. There you go. So for me, that's kind of messy. But even like the final fight, like with Ego being such a celestial being, and it's just them going to the core of the planet to try and blow up his brain core is just weird. But then I don't know. Yeah, I can go on and on. But importance to the overall story of the MCU, we got Mantis.
There's a pretty big negative on this end. Obviously, that's one of your big negatives. But yeah, it's basically Mantis, the relationship between Peter and Gamora.
Yep. Nebula and Kraglin joining the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Celestials ?
Yeah,
because at this point, Celestials, that's a big name drop. We know that they kind of created the universe, so that's kind of big.
Not just that, but we also see the Watchers.
Exactly. Oh, that's another negative. Too many post-credit scenes.
Because we see Stan Lee with the Watchers. That's his
Stan Lee cameo.
His Stan Lee cameo.
Technically, it's 2 cameos.
So, but then nothing comes to the Watchers either. Or
well, technically we have What If.
No, What If does not count, Matt.
I'm
That's
just
just
saying.
literally What If.
I know, but that's still, I don't know. That's the only other time we see it. Easter eggs.
But that's a big thing to drop.
Yeah.
The Watchers.
The Watchers is huge.
But yeah, what would you say though about, I guess, Peter and Gamora? That relationship is maybe the biggest thing that is carried over to in the MCU. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Just
then,
but that's us knowing.
Yeah, but at this current moment, yeah, them growing in their relationship.
But that doesn't mean that means nothing other than they're becoming closer.
Yeah, and just the Mantis, Nebula, and Kraglin joining the Guardians would be the other big thing.
Technically, there's only 2 post-credit scenes because the first one with the arrow, I took it out because I don't count it.
Okay.
Because it really wasn't a post-credit. It was more like a fun.
Oh, actually, you know what? I have 4 then. Yeah, because I actually don't have that marked in post-credit.
Okay.
But we have the High Priestess.
Yep.
With the Adam Warlock cocoon.
Adam Warlock reference, yeah.
Which does pay off. We see Teenage Groot.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that.
What?
We see Teenage Groot.
Didn't care for that.
We see Stanley with the Watchers again.
Yep.
And then we see a group of the Ravengers with like Sylvester Stallone, and we see some other people in there, and that's the actual original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comics, the first ever appearance.
It's like a reference.
Yeah, and Miley Cyrus is in that scene as one of the voice actresses.
Very random.
And Michael Rasenbaum, who's in the movie throughout, aka Lex Luthor from Smallville. He plays like the weird like ice stone looking dude.
Okay.
But that's Michael Rasenbaum. Fun fact. But yeah, those are the first four credit scenes. So Guardians of the Galaxy from the comics, High Priestess with Adam Warlock cocoon, Teenage Groot, then Stan Lee with the Watchers again.
So obviously the audience gives this an 87. Pretty good rating. Obviously at this point, if you think about it, we have 89 rated audience score from Rotten Tomatoes on Captain America Civil War, 85 on Doctor Strange, 87 on Guardians. So from a Rotten Tomatoes perspective,
they're chilling.
Phase 3 is cooking.
Yeah.
What are you giving Guardians of the Galaxy, though?
Out of 100 or out of 10?
Well, I mean, same thing.
I guess, yeah. Like a 6.5.
6.5. Yeah. I think as a standalone film, it can be a 7, especially if you know nothing about
a
lot of
but from our
comic book
expertise.
Well, just like, if you know nothing about Celestials, you don't care about how they're just dropping stuff, and you don't care about Ego the Planet, you're just like, sure, okay, that makes sense. Why not?
Cool.
Then, yeah, sure. I could see it as 7. 87 seems a bit like...
A little bit high.
It seems like, when you're on my anime list, and you see a season 2 or 3 of something that you were like, season 1 was like a 7 or 8 maybe, but then it's somehow consistently at like 8.5 for the rest of its run, because the only people watching that anymore are
the people that have
the
gone
people that
past
love
season
it.
1. Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
that's how this rating ended up.
Yeah, that's so fair, honestly.
Like, people that just love Guardians are like, I love the first one. Very similar feel, aesthetic, humor.
Yeah.
If you liked it, I don't see how you couldn't like the second one in a lot of ways. But unless you're just an MCU elitist like yourself, because you liked the first one.
I do enjoy the first one, but dislike the second one a lot.
So we'll see how Guardians 3 fares when we get there.
Yep.
Join us next week, though, as one of our potential favorites. One for Matt's potential least favorite to maybe a hot one high ranking. Who knows? And that's Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man's back in the MCU.
Heck yeah.
So check that out next week. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. So we're trying to hit 1,000 subs before the end of the year.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.